TCT presents Public Report, a look at the issues and events of importance to our viewing area. Now, here's your host.
Hi, welcome to Public Report. I am your host, Richard McCorkle. I am here with my lovely co-host and wife, Crystal McCorkle. How are you doing?
I'm doing wonderful.
We are very excited today. We have a great show for you today.
Yes.
We have been a wonderful fan of our guest today.
Yes.
We're going to be talking with the Reverend Dr. Rhonda Royal Hatton, and she is the pastor at Celebration Ministries Lutheran. She's a strong advocate for women. She's also a spoken word instructor, and she's involved in the arts and ministry. Ladies and gentlemen, Reverend Dr. Rhonda Royal Hatton.
Thank you so much.
Welcome to our show. Give us a little background about yourself.
Well, I was born and raised in Camden, New Jersey,
Okay.
right next door to Philadelphia.
All right.
It's an urban environment and a town that I feel has produced some of the greatest artists that existed.
Yes.
And so I'm very proud that that's where I come from.
Awesome.
Mom and dad were young parents
Okay.
when they had me.
Yes.
They were teenagers.
Wow.
And my mother and father were determined that we were going to do great things.
Wow,
Yeah.
that is good.
Yeah.
Let's talk about your journey as well, as starting the church.
Wow.
and how you've progressed and where you are now.
Yes, very interesting journey. I gave my heart to the Lord when I was about 15 years old.
Mm-hmm.
So I've seemed like I've been in ministry all my life. That's what it
Yes.
seems. I was a youth leader
Okay.
in the church, and I've always been in the arts. When I was younger, they asked me, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" I said, "A star."
Oh, okay. All right.
And
Yes.
so I've been doing theater, all my life. I had a theater group in New Jersey,
Okay.
my own theater group. And so when I transitioned to college, I continued in that vein. I majored in theater, and I started my own theater group in college.
Wow.
And but have always been a part of ministry. I've always been doing poetry and spoken word from a kid,
No
and it's
kidding.
always been very inspirational. And so when I moved to North Carolina, which I came for love,
Yes, haven't we? Didn't we all?
I became a founder of a church with my husband. He and I, we were founding members. We weren't the founders,
Gotcha.
but we were founding members of that church.
Excellent.
And we were elders in that church, and we were there for 25 years.
Wow, that's a long
Okay.
time.
25 years, yeah, and did some great ministry there. But at that time, they did not ordain women.
No kidding.
Yeah, so
Okay.
I served there as a missionary. I've had the opportunity to travel to Africa and Brazil and all over
Wow.
the world as a missionary.
Yes.
But God was calling me to preach.
Yes.
And so he called me to seminary. And I said, what am I going to seminary for? That's for pastors.
Right.
I'm not going to preach. I'm not going to be a pastor. And so the Lord spoke to me and said, I'm calling you to seminary because it's going to be a door opener for you.
Oh.
It's going to be a place where you can go and learn and usher in the Holy Spirit in places that people don't really understand.
Yes.
And I said, okay, but he switched and baited me.
He does that sometimes.
He does
doesn't
that sometimes. And so I went thinking I was going to start a school, a
Okay.
Christian school, because I majored in theater education.
Okay.
So I'm an educator as well. And then during that time, the Lord called me to preach the gospel.
Isn't that something?
Yeah, and okay.
Yeah, that's fine. That's so when you first started going on to the missions trips and stuff like that,
Yes.
how different is that from normal, say, street ministry when you're at home, and then when you go to a different country, a different culture? How do you switch into that?
I have a very interesting story. At that time when I went, my husband and I, we purchased our first home.
Okay.
It was a 3,000 square foot home.
Wow.
I was expecting at the time. So my youngest child, that's the only place she's ever known. It has 4 bedrooms. It was possibly 6.
Okay.
But the way that we chose the amenities, all this beautiful space. And so when I went to Africa, and I saw the way the people were living, the areas that we were in, I got all this guilt.
Oh.
And I would cry, and I called back to the States, and I talked with my pastor at the time, and I said, how can I live like this when there's 10 people in one room,
Right,
and they
right.
don't have inside water or inside plumbing or anything?
Yes.
And he said to me, he said, you're Joseph. He said, do you remember Joseph? And how he was betrayed by his brothers?
Yes.
And so it made me think about slavery.
Wow.
But how he had favor and he rose up in the king's house
Yes.
so
yes,
that he
yes.
could be a blessing to those that are in famine. And I said, thank you, Lord.
Yeah.
And so I was able to look at it through different eyes, that God allowed me to be here to be a blessing.
Right.
But it's a very, very different world
Yes.
than here. I realize how privileged we are, in
yes.
this country.
And tell me how the ways you were blessed by being a missionary from the other side. How the people that you were a missionary to, how were you blessed by them?
They blessed me because they accepted me for me.
Okay.
It wasn't a thing like, oh, it's this great person coming from the United States.
Yeah.
And you know, it was that they were grateful that I loved them like Christ loved them, but they said, we're going to love you back
Wow. That's awesome.
the way Christ loves, because we're all family.
Absolutely.
And my life has never been the same. Never been the same.
Wow. So when you came back, where was your first mission trip?
My first mission trip was actually to Brazil.
Okay.
Which was amazing. We went to 5 states in Brazil.
Wow.
But the city that impacted me the most was, oh my goodness, I can't, Salvador. I can't think of the name of it right now. Ah,
But
it
somewhere in
escapes
Brazil.
me. Yes,
Okay.
but it's it's closer to the coast.
Okay. Okay.
And it's 98% Afro-Brazilian.
Okay.
And so when I went there, I saw the shanties, I saw the favelas.
Yes.
My heart just, but you saw children playing in a place with no shoes, dirty faces, but they're playing soccer and they're laughing and they're enjoying themselves.
Yes.
And all they know is that they have life.
Yes.
And when I went there, it really impacted me because the history was that in the slave trade, they split families.
Yes.
So they dropped some Africans in Brazil, and then they came on to America. So brothers and sisters were split up. So I told these, I said, you're my cousins.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, because they look just like us. It wasn't like, it looked like Aunt Sue down the street, you know? But the culture was just wonderful. They speak Portuguese because, you know, they were colonized by Portugal.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it was just, so Brazil was where I went first. I went to 5 states in Brazil. And then I had the opportunity to go to Jamaica. And I've had the opportunity to go to Africa, and I went to Rwanda and Uganda.
Wow. And during what period of time?
Well, it was after the rebellion,
Yes,
after the
okay,
fight.
okay.
But we,
Well, you know, you have to ask that.
yes, I
because,
saw
yeah.
Hotel Rwanda.
Yeah. Yeah.
We actually went, they have different memorials and shrines set up.
Yes.
They actually have warehouses where people went to hide, and people came in and killed them. They have preserved the bodies.
Oh my goodness.
And so everywhere, there's skeletons now,
Yes, yes,
but
yes.
everywhere. I mean, you're talking about emotional, you're talking about powerful, and yet I went to church, and these people have been through all of this, but yet they're still dancing and rejoicing
That is
and
wonderful.
praising God. So yeah,
That's amazing.
yeah.
Wow, that's just really good.
Yes.
Also, you're an advocate for women. Let's talk about that a little bit.
Absolutely. I'm an advocate for women because, one, I'm a woman.
Yes, yes.
And I actually performed in a convention this weekend called Resistance Con. And it was a bringing together of artists to advocate and resist in their own way through the arts.
Okay.
And I expressed before I presented my spoken word poetry that I advocate for women, children as well, but women, because I'm a child of the movement. I didn't go through the movement. I don't know what it's like not to be able to sit where I want to sit or eat where I want to eat. I don't know what it's like, but I am a recipient of what those who died before us, right? And so, but as a woman, I've experienced sexism.
Yes.
And so I've experienced where they say women cannot do this, or they cannot do that, or women are inferior in some way to men. And so what God did was, in calling me into the ministry, he gave me a revelation that we are him.
Wow.
She, and I wrote a piece entitled, She is Him. Because Adam and Eve were literally one.
Yes.
And he gave me a revelation that if Adam wanted to frame Eve for a crime, he literally could, because they have the same exact DNA.
That's a really good point. That's a great perspective.
Yes,
it is.
and so when we put our brothers down or sisters down, we're putting ourselves down.
Yes.
And so I advocate for women because we're smart,
Yes, we
we're
are.
strong,
Yes, we are.
we're powerful,
are.
we're intelligent, because we are him.
Yes.
I love that.
Yes.
Yes.
Wow, that
So
is-
what are some of the issues in our day and age now and in our culture? What are some of the issues that advocacy for women, where are some of the weaknesses that we need to strengthen up at?
Well, one of the things, I participated in a poetry slam that dealt with domestic violence.
Okay.
And it dealt with self-esteem. And it dealt with victimization and women staying in that place of being the victim. You know, and things happen to us because things happen to men too. They don't just always tell it. But things happen to men as children. Things happen to women as children, and we want to hold on to that. But God has called us to victory, not to be the victim.
Yes.
And so I think in empowering women and letting them know that God made them fearfully and wonderfully. There is nothing inferior about their
Yes,
creation.
yes,
There is
yes.
nothing
Amen.
inferior, and what happened to you is not who you are.
Right.
And if you can get that and grasp that and know who he created you to be,
Yes.
then you can get past being the victim and walking in victory.
That's awesome. Awesome.
Yes.
And now talk about a little bit about the nonprofit.
So my nonprofit is a Royal Priesthood Performing Arts Incorporated. And so I was born for this. I was birthed for this. One of the things I was explaining to some of the congregation is that in Jeremiah, he says, before you were formed in your mother's womb, I called you a prophet. So this was, I have nothing to do with this gift. God gave it to me. And if God gave it to me, it is my responsibility to bless the world with it and give it back to him.
Right.
Yeah.
And to help others to find their gift. So in a Royal Priesthood Performing Art, knowing who you were created to be, a royal priesthood, a peculiar people, a holy nation. Woo!
Yes,
And
yes.
so that's how that was birthed. But I use it to bring the arts to communities that may not be able to afford the arts. Because if you have to choose between getting shoes for your child or going to see a play, buying a $40 ticket for a play, you're not going to do that. And so I want to be able to bring that to the community free of charge. I want to be able to tap into the gifts in those in the community who may not be able to afford to go to a drama class.
Right.
Or take a singing course, or have, to be able to provide that to build young people. And and also because I'm an advocate for women, I also do women's conferences to empower women through a Royal Priesthood Performing Arts.
Wow. It is very interesting because I know throughout I was a professional musician for about 35 years.
Oh, wow.
And so I knew growing up, even as a white kid from suburbia, that you had your issues, and I found that performance and music helped you go through that. So I can imagine a person who's really going through some drama in their life that you must have seen some growth and some healing.
Absolutely.
Tell me about
Absolutely. I also serve as one of the campus ministers to North Carolina Central University.
Oh, okay.
And so when I went into the Lutheran church, they denominationally place campus ministers on campus.
Yes.
Some churches, they say, oh, well, we want to do campus ministry, and they go. But they are advocates for campus ministry.
Wow.
And so and being the campus minister as well as the outreach minister, I was able to use my gift. So when the students would come together with us, and help, and they would be in the plays or they would serve, usher, they would literally tell me at the end of rehearsals, they would say, Pastor Rhonda, we had church.
Oh, wow.
Because it was an opportunity for them to experience a spiritual release, a spiritual healing, not being in a traditional setting of church. And so many people got releases, and you know, you wind up counseling and helping the students, because young people go through some things.
Absolutely.
And so through that avenue, I've seen many people get set free.
That's awesome.
That is good. I like that.
Yeah.
Wow. And also, you were talking about it's a nonprofit, and when was it established? Did you is it a couple of years? And how can they reach you with the nonprofit if they want to give into your nonprofit?
Sure, it was an organic growth because I started with, it was called Gifts of God Ministries when I started in high school.
Yes.
And so as I did that in New Jersey, and then I went to college in Atlanta, I did that there, and then when I transitioned to Durham, I did it there. And so it organically grew into, now it's a royal priesthood. Anyone is welcome to participate. Anyone who has a heart for ministry, a heart for healing, a heart for people using their gifts and utilizing them for God's glory, or even just to bless humanity.
Yes.
You can reach me at 919-519-5282 if you wish to donate, if you wish to volunteer, if you wish to be a part, if you just want to talk.
Yes.
You can reach me at 919-519-5282. You can also reach me at Hatton Rhonda, HATTON @gmail.com. And it's a Royal Priesthood Performing Arts Incorporated. And we're looking to put a main stage gospel play up by the end of this year.
Awesome.
Wow, wow.
Well, we'll be looking forward to that.
Yeah, that's great.
Now, the first time I met you at it was a talent show.
Yes.
And I had the honor of sitting next to you. We were judges.
Yes.
But I also had an honor right next to me was a fine gentleman next to me, and your husband. Tell me how much of an importance it is, I know for me, to have a partner in what we do in our career and our ministries. Just tell me about how important that dynamic is.
Oh my goodness. I am so blessed. I have one of the most supportive husbands in the world. I know you have a good one.
Yes, I do.
He is so supportive. We met in college in Atlanta. And when he found out my gifts, he said, I want to support everything you do. And I was in a play on campus, and he came to the play like he was going to the opera. Now, we were only 19 and 20 years old, and he had his scarf around his neck and his suit jacket on, and he's sitting in the front row, so proud. And, you know, all the girls was like, where'd you find him? But the Lord, I call him my star and my crown, because the Lord also used me to witness to him and to help introduce him to Jesus Christ.
Amen.
And so he has been so supportive of ministry, my ministry, personally, corporately. He's been in my plays. He still acts with me, believe it or not. He plays, it's a character, there's a skit, it's a choreo poem, actually.
Okay.
It's a poem that's a play.
Okay.
And so he plays the evil character, Doggy G. And I told him he can play that till he's an old man, you know. But he's very supportive, and as I expressed before, we were both in the same ministry for 25 years that didn't ordain women. And so he never hindered me. He never hindered me. And he told me when we transitioned over into starting our own ministry, he said, I didn't fully understand all of what God was doing in your life, but I dare not come against what God was doing, because I knew it was God.
Wow. That's powerful.
And so he's still supportive. Even when we were transitioning, I transitioned before he did. He stayed in the church because he was a faithful deacon, and he still served. But my services, the outreach ministry, was in the afternoon. So he would come, he would drive the church van, He would pick people up for me. He would teach Sunday school.
All right.
He would help, and then he'd go back and do his duties there. So his name is Ian Hatton.
Yes.
And we've been married. We celebrated 25 years this year.
Wow.
And so
congratulations.
Yeah,
Well
so
done.
he's very, very supportive. And it's very important.
Yes.
It's very important.
Well, let's get into some of your spoken word. And I know you brought something, and we would love to, if you could just do a little piece for us.
I would love to.
Great.
The piece I'm going to do, I have 3 versions of this.
Okay.
Yes.
It is entitled We Be One. And I wrote it originally, I was commissioned to do it at a marriage retreat. So I wrote it as a husband and wife and covering one another. And then the Lord spoke to me and said, well, there's other coverings. There's a brother-sister covering because of the division in the church
Sure.
and sexism. And we need to have each other's back as sisters and brothers.
Yes,
But then there's also, I believe in advocating for the women and the sisters. And there is a covering that sisters should have because the enemy says that women can't get along.
Yeah.
And so I denounced that.
Yes.
And I say, you are my sister and we have each other. So the piece I'm going to do is We Be One Sisterhood Edition.
All right. Let's.
There is no mystery to this, for honor be our code and faith be our risk. From the shedding of blood and the veil that's been rent, we are one. A family indeed, an abbey of sistering, a consecrated retreat, a prophetic utterance I gladly repeat. So as I prepare for battle and division you delete, love be our center, the word be our meat. That nourishes and strengthens our unity we eat. We learn and we grow and we beat back defeat. Together we walk, together we stand, together we fight like combat hand to hand. For you are my sister and success is our plan. Yes. We be an army of one. You be the grenade, I the machine gun. Defending our ground, tearing the enemy's kingdom down. Strategizing a covert operation. You be the lawyer, I the litigation. Our minds as one. Planning the course, you bring the tools, I'll build the Trojan horse. Infiltrating the enemy's camp, in his diabolical stratagem we revamp. Executing a coup d'etat, you lead the way and I follow ya. I lead the sister troop, come sister ma. For you be one great nobilissima. You be the bazooka, I the missile. You the informant, I be the whistle. Exposing the tactics the enemies devise. For together we bring his kingdom's demise. You be mighty warrior, I be the chief. You be the ninja, I the righteous thief. Taking back what the enemy stole from us. We be the baddest team, for it's built upon trust. We move in secret like panther on prowl. You laugh like hyena, I take the prey down. We run like the cheetahs, a unified coalition, for we are one. There be no opposition, no room for jealous apparition. This thing is airtight. There is no competition, no hateration, no love deliberation. We both be beauty, we all be cuties. There be no division, no ideologies of separatism, no inebriation of superiority, no hallucination of self-ascendancy. For I cover you, and homegirl, you cover me. A numerical equation equivalent to we. A multiplication of 2 equals 1, a mathematical summation only divides by the sun. You be the sensei, I the chosen. I got your back. For you be the sharpshooter, I plan the attack. We move in stealth, we be a wolf pack. Omega females, we got each other like that. How can 2 war together except they agree? I execute the ambush and sister, you cover me. We are one. Love be our teacher, love be the holy son. Our sergeant, if you will, you roar my sister lioness, I go in for the kill. For I am she lion, designed cubs to protect. You be feline, for danger you detect. You paralyze the enemy, I take him out. I march around the walls, you give out the shout. I be the helm, you be the ship. Together we ride, though the storms may exist. You stretch out your faith, you part the Red Sea. See, I be the rod extending from thee. Our hands we be raising, our dance we be praising. We be soul sisters and we be amazing. For I am water walking and I'm bidding you to come. You be water walking, reflecting glory from the sun. We are sisters in this peace, a defense force of one. A house divided against itself won't stand. For I am your sister, you architect the plan. For we build a great house, pushing each other to get more. An eagle alliance, together we soar. We be eagless, we fight with finesse. We are tigress, we be the big cat. We got each other like that. We be like Queen Esther. We got favor with the king. And it's for our sisters we do that covering thing. Prophetically sealed by Elion the Most High. Elohim, together we fly. Together we ride. For together we agree. Because I cover you, my sister, and you cover me.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much.
That was very good.
Wow, I love that.
You are a dynamite. Boom.
Yes, it
You
is.
are just full of it. That's just wonderful, wonderful. Well, it's such an honor. I'm so glad we had this time to talk and everything. So what do we have? What's in the not just in the near future? What is next for you?
Well, this was powerful.
Yes, it was.
Being here, my calendar is just filling up because I'm also a preacher who travels.
Okay.
So people call me for their conferences, not only to preach, but also I have to do spoken word.
Okay.
I also have to do dramatic performances because I'm also an actress and a director.
Awesome.
And so my calendar is just filling up. I'm doing that. I'm also helping with some conferences, and spoken word. I've done an open mic for 8 years as part of an evangelistic endeavor, and to help other spoken word artists but other people perform too. So that's what's next.
Wow.
I'm just busy doing things in the kingdom and helping to build the body of Christ.
Excellent, excellent. Well, that gives us lessons for everything. I mean, there's no excuses to use every resource that God has given you, every skill that He's given you.
Yes.
And don't ignore those small inspirations that you get, because the inspiration, I think that even is translated, you're inspirited, correct? Isn't that what that means?
Yes,
So
yes.
don't be afraid of those small
That's
steps. Don't be afraid of writing that poetry down. Don't be afraid of visions of plays or anything like that, because it's helped you.
Yes.
And I can't imagine the people that you have helped.
Yes.
So I know I'm inspired, and I think, Crystal, we got some work to do.
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
Lots of
Yes,
work.
we do.
Yes.
So I hope this has blessed you today, and I know it's blessed us. There's just so much out there. Mission trips. Look, there's a great big world out there.
Oh my goodness.
So we thank you for joining us today, and have a great day.
This has been Public Report. Public Report discusses the issues of interest and importance to our viewing area. Please remember that the views expressed by our guests are their own and do not necessarily represent the views of TCT or the station.
For God so loved the world that He gave His only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in Him shall live and not perish. What an opportunity we have to give back to God in worship. Take this time to support TCT for the fabulous things that it's doing in the community, with the words of encouragement, with the words of healing and deliverance. You have now been given the opportunity to sow into God's kingdom. God bless you, and we hope to hear from you soon.